Um, I say you and I do the intro and outro after the interview. So let's not. So let's start practicing that.
He's coming.
Okay. Oh, I hear you. Yeah.
Am I the normal volume?
You're normal again.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You just have to call him and everything's okay. So
Okay, let me go tell him I'm good.
I don't know why, but that's too funny.
Oh wait.
So even when we stop the live stream as well, Kevin, we'll do it after that.
Well, we're live streaming right now, so yeah, we can do that afterwards.
All right. All
right. We can hear you.
Yay! So
Kristin,
good.
Kevin, Kristin.
Hi, Kristin.
So nice to meet you. With
too.
volume now. So great.
All right. So we are live on YouTube. So we're just gonna do a few or hello world, hello internet first. Thanks for joining us. We are just gonna go ahead and do a few quick sound checks, and then we're gonna hop right into our awesome podcast here with the Frugal Girl. So let's see. So I'm gonna do a test real quick. 1, 2. Kevin, if you don't mind saying something.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right. And Kristin.
Test. 1, 2, 3.
All right. Thank you. Just gotta play.
Maybe my microphone just has to warm up. It's just waiting for me to give up and call my husband, and then it's like, oh, hey, I'm working.
All right. All right, I had to change one thing here. So one more test, one more time. All right. Go ahead, Kevin.
Testing.
And Kristin.
Testing.
All right. I'm going to play that back. Perfect. That sounds great. All right. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to start recording now. And here we go. Kevin, do you have what you need?
Yeah. We're streaming all right, it seems like.
That sounds great. All right. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead.
Yep. I have our notes.
I guess we should check the live stream. Yeah.
It's up, and we already have 4 people watching.
Awesome.
Hello, people.
Yes.
Our record's 7 in one night.
We're getting so close. We're over halfway there.
Yep.
That's funny.
All right.
Cool. I have the live chat up. So anyone out there on YouTube, feel free to put a message in the live chat, and we will monitor it and get to those at the end.
There we go. All right. I'm not going to type anymore now. I'm going to pull this in. Alrighty. You're recording?
Yep.
All right. So we'll just dive into it. We'll go back and we'll do our introductions and stuff later.
Okay.
All right. We are live on the YouTube streaming the raw footage of tonight's recording. Come hang out with us in the future at live.twofrugaldudes.com or check out previous recordings at raw.twofrugaldudes.com. Make sure to stick around and hopefully put some money back in your pocket with our frugal tip of the day at the end of today's show.
Yeah, and today we have a very special guest with We have a very special guest with us, Kristin, an amazing vlogger who has put money back into my pocket with her awesome work at thefrugalgirl.com. And she has joined us today to share some of her frugal cooking knowledge with our listeners. And we are so glad to have you join us. Welcome to the show, Kristin.
Thank you. I am delighted to be here.
Cool. But before we get started, we have a few quick fire questions just to break the ice if you're up for it.
All right. I'll give it a try.
All right. Pizza or tacos?
Tacos, for sure.
Nice.
My husband would say pizza, but I'm definitely in team taco.
Oh, it's got to be tough sometimes. Just kidding. Coffee or tea?
Tea, for sure.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh my gosh, neither.
Neither. Okay.
I really do not do sci-fi. In fact, I do sci-fi so little, sometimes I get Star Trek and Star Wars mixed up. That's how it is. So, no to either of those.
Kevin, it's okay.
I honestly don't care. I was trying to think of like a better show comparison. I was like, Dawson's Creek or 90210.
Oh man.
To me, Star Trek and Star Wars are just like the same thing. They're both sci-fi. No can do.
You just made a lot of people on the internet very upset.
Well, Kristin.
Sorry, people. You watch Downton Abbey, Sherlock.
There you go. Okay, do you prefer the snow or the beach?
I'm gonna give the beach a slight edge.
Okay, slight edge. And
Yeah.
when would you go to? When would you go to if you had a time machine?
Oh, that's a hard one. See, I don't think about time machines because I don't do sci-fi. Oh man, when would I like to go back to? I don't know, maybe like the 1920s. That might
Okay.
be cool.
That probably
I
would
don't
be
know.
cool.
There's a lot of eras in history that I think would be interesting, but that I might not necessarily want to go back to. Like, I think Civil War history is pretty cool. World War II era is pretty cool.
Yeah, it all sounds great, right?
I might like to go back and like see it, but then I really would like to be back here with my indoor plumbing.
and when the internet, I guess, right?
Yes, the internet, indoor plumbing, and not in the middle of a war right in my hometown. So
True.
Kristin, where are you from?
I live on the east coast of the United States in the mid-Atlantic area, and I have lived here my whole life.
Okay,
I've
so
visited other places, but this is the only.
I am Mid-Atlantic. I am in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Oh, nice. I'm north of you there.
Okay, so all right, we won't tell people exactly where you are, but especially now with live stream. What's your address, Kristin, so everyone can geolocate you?
Would you like my social security number too?
That would be nice. And the last 3 digits on your credit card.
Right.
Well, awesome. So let's just start with the basics. Tell everyone out there listening about who you are and how did you get the Frugal Girl blog up and going?
All right. Well, I live with my husband. I've been married for almost 20 years, and we have 4 kids. They are 17, 16, 13, and 11, and I homeschool them. Except the oldest, he just graduated, so I'm down to just 3 kids in my homeschool now. I started blogging back in 2008, and I did that after I cleaned out my refrigerator. I've always been frugal, but I was not always very good about taking care of my food waste. And so one day when I was cleaning out my fridge, I thought, oh, I would be so embarrassed if anybody saw how much food I was throwing away. And then I was like, that's it. I need to show people how much food I'm throwing away, and then I will probably be motivated to stop. So I started a blog with the world's longest URL. It was www.confessionsofarecoveringfoodwaster.blogspot.com. It was so bad. I didn't know anything about blogging, but
It rolls right off the tongue.
I know, it's so easy to remember. It's horrible. Newbie mistakes. But I blogged there for a couple months and got bitten by the blogging bug, and I decided, oh, I'd like to do this somewhere, but I felt like food waste was a little bit of a narrow niche to really write about for a long time. So that summer, I started the Frugal Girl, and then I just rolled the food waste thing in with the Frugal Girl because not throwing away food is actually very frugal. So I just worked that in, and then I've been able to blog about a much wider variety of topics. I blog about cooking and baking and DIY and maintenance and repairing. And I also like to write about the motivation behind frugal living. So I write about contentment and thankfulness, because if you can't be content with a little, then you can't be content with a lot either. So I really think that having that contented, thankful attitude is super important. Sometimes when I write about that, people will write in and be like, I came here for money-saving ideas. Why are you writing about thankfulness? But I really think that the thankfulness and frugal living and contentment are all kind of interconnected. So I think that that's relevant, especially because my tagline is cheerfully living on less, not crabbily living on less. So it's about living on less, but also having a cheerful and contented attitude about it. So that's what I write about.
I love it. My wife and I, we have 3 boys, 6, 4, and 1 years old, and she wants to homeschool as well. It's funny that tomorrow we're going upstate to a homeschooling conference, so she can learn all about homeschooling and
Nice.
I guess the hardest part is just picking a curriculum and what are you actually going to teach your kids. So outside of our conversation tonight, but I just am highly interested in it now because my wife is.
And
Yeah,
I
I
was
have a
actually, go ahead. I was actually homeschooled too. So I am a second generation homeschooler. I
Oh,
graduated
awesome.
school. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm
Wow,
like pretty normal.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's awesome. That's great to hear from someone that's been through it and wants to continue doing it again for their own children. My kids are 3 and 2, and that's something my wife and I are talking about right now that we're interested in doing as well. Especially because we also are interested in traveling around, and we think that would be very beneficial for that. But going back to your original blog, no, I think that going back to when I started thinking about being frugal in the kitchen, I remember it was the same kind of like epiphany, like the how much I'm throwing away in my refrigerator was like a direct measure of really how much money I was wasting and just throwing out in the trash. So I was using that as like to kind of figure out how well I was doing or how efficient I was in the kitchen. So I can see how things kicked off for you from there because I was in a similar boat myself. But
You picked a better URL than I did. So I win the prize for worst beginning URL.
How old's your blog?
I started in 2008.
Okay, so I remember blogs back then. They were all long, so I think you were in good company.
But once I started my actual frugal blog, I picked something shorter, so that's good. I'm not stuck with I lost the really bad URL back a long time ago.
Well, awesome. So for our viewers out there, every month we give a book away to folks who are listening, and especially folks that ask a question. So if someone asks us a question, either in our live chat on Twitter or send us one through email, especially while we're live with you, if they ask questions now, they'll be entered to win a book. And last month we gave away Unshakable by Tony Robbins to a lucky listener. And this month we're giving away the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Have you read that book, Kristin?
I have not. I've read some of Tim Ferriss's writing, but I haven't read his book.
I think you might enjoy it. It's all about minimalism and getting stuff out of your life and reducing distractions and just tons and tons of great advice. So
it's my to-be read list. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
I know exactly what you mean. All right, so side note, we are up to 8 viewers. We have beat our record.
It's an all-time high. Woo! Hi guys.
All right, sorry, Sean.
No, definitely, that's awesome. Before you started, so you already kind of mentioned how you somewhat became frugal with the waste that you noticed in your own refrigerator. Kind of coming along to frugal cooking, how it kind of came about in your life. Is that just really what kickstarted for you, or was there any family frugalness or family cooking, or was cooking just in your genes, or basically did you just have to learn how?
Well, I've been frugal for a long time. The thing is that the food waste was kind of like this anomaly in my otherwise frugal life. So that has changed since 2008. But I've been frugal for a long time. I think it's just kind of in my bones. When my husband and I got married back in 1987, we did not have much money to rub together at all. He worked in a warehouse and I had 2 part-time jobs, and we lived in a little $425 a month basement apartment. And in that situation, it was either be frugal or go into debt. So it was kind of a have to sort of thing. Things have improved for us now. We have more money, but we also have 4 kids. So we still want to maximize our grocery budget and not spend all of our money on takeout so that we can do things like paying down our mortgage or spending the money on travel or saving for retirement or saving for kids' college. There are a lot of other things we would like to use our money on rather than just blowing it all on eating. So,
can we talk about some of the benefits of cooking frugally, especially for someone who is maybe the takeout king or queen? Obviously, the cost savings of being frugal when you're in the supermarket, But are there any other benefits that someone might not be aware of?
Yeah, I think what you touched on there is really important, that it's good to maximize your grocery budget, but really the most important thing is to make sure that you are buying groceries instead of buying takeout, because you can practically eat strip steak or porterhouse every night at home for the price that you pay for eating takeout. You can buy almost anything at the grocery store and it's going to be cheaper than eating takeout. So I think that's the first step. If somebody's doing takeout all the time, don't go to the grocery store and be like, oh, I have to buy the cheapest thing there. What you need to do is just buy something at the grocery store so you cook at home instead of going and getting takeout. So I think that's super important. Another benefit of cooking at home is that almost anything you cook at home is going to be healthier than what you get for takeout. There's some exceptions, but as a general rule, eating at home is almost automatically going to get you some healthier food. And I also think that it provides more variety. I cook for my family almost every week, but when we go on vacation, sometimes, even if we have a condo that has a kitchen, I just take the week off of cooking and we eat out the whole week. And usually towards the end of the week, we are all feeling like maybe we'd like to have some home cooked food. Even my kids say, Mom, I feel like I need a salad. Because when you eat out, you just don't get as many fruits and vegetables and fresh stuff as you do when you are cooking at home. So I think it provides a more enjoyable eating experience if you are able to get some skills in the kitchen and make some good fresh food at home.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because, I'm actually vacationing right now in Virginia Beach. My original... Yeah. So my original hometown, I'm actually in my brother-in-law's room. So I'm from here. But we moved to Austin, Texas about 8 months ago. And now we're back in Virginia Beach, just visiting family for 2 weeks. And I've already spent like my whole monthly grocery budget in the amount, just take out food because, it's just crazy how fast it adds up. And that was one of the things I noticed initially when I started budgeting. It was like that, just the entertainment cost, the takeout cost. Like, I didn't know how much this Taco Bell, even Taco Bell, that's pretty cheap. But, just as fast food in general.
There's 6 of us because we have 4 kids. So even if we go to Chick-fil-A or McDonald's, it's like $35 or $40. Right. And I spend $150 to feed us for a week. So this is ridiculous to drop $40. I mean, we do eat. It's not like we never have takeout, but it would not be sustainable for us to do something like that every night or even multiple meals a week. I would use up my whole grocery budget like that.
And I guess looking back, it may have been kids for me too. I'm not sure if that's what it was for you, but I definitely know when we started having kids a few years ago. Actually, it might have been right before that. Maybe just owning our own house and living together. But kids definitely made a major impact on just having to be home. I mean, you're being around their schedule, nap time. That really did help my wife and I learn to be at home more and cook more. And stop living a different lifestyle where we're going out all the time and wining and dining. But it's had tremendous benefits. I mean, it's brought us closer together. I've learned great new skills, and now we can go to the grocery store and be like, wow, look at all we can buy, with this money and everything I know I can make with this and that. So there's great benefits to it. We love it. Yep. So, but one of the things we hear all the time is it's expensive to eat healthy. A lot. I mean, I used to say that, and then now I'm kind of up in the air. I don't really know. So, do you feel the same, or do you think it's getting better?
I think it depends. I think it depends how much time you want to put in the kitchen, and then also what your definition of healthy is. If you have a really high definition of healthy, like everything has to be organic and completely from scratch and free range and all that, then you are going to have to spend quite a bit to get all of that. But if you have a little bit more of a medium level goal, like I try to make most of my food mostly healthy most of the time. So I feel like that's a little more sustainable than aiming for something that's perfect. I'm a really big fan of not letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. Because a lot of times if you aim for something perfect, then you're not able to reach that, and then you just give up. So instead of eating this perfect diet, then you end up ordering takeout instead. So I think it's better to figure out something that is manageable and sustainable for you, and then you'll be more likely to stick with it. And then if you're willing to put time in the kitchen, I think that it's a lot easier to eat healthfully and also save money. Because if you're willing to put some time in the kitchen, then you can just buy basic ingredients. A canister of oatmeal, lots of fruits and vegetables are cheap, plain chicken, gallons of milk, blocks of cheese. When you're buying ingredients, those kinds of things aren't that expensive. But if you're wanting to get dinner on the table in 10 minutes, then you have to buy prepared, ready to eat healthy food. And that's where it ends up being really expensive. So I think if you're willing to just buy some basic ingredients and make food from those, it's not going to blow your budget to eat healthy. And it's definitely going to be cheaper than takeout.
Yeah, very true. I was saying, yeah, very true. And I like that analogy to like trying to be perfect because like the diet going around right now is Whole30, right? And everybody lasts like 3 weeks on Whole30 and then they're off of it because it's extreme. Like all right, just take bread out for the time being, just don't bring that in the house. Start there. But yeah, when everybody tries to just hop in and just go for it, it's a very low success rate.
Yes, at least in the long term. So I would rather do something sustainable that I'm going to be able to handle over the long haul than to like go great guns for 2 weeks and then burn out.
True.
So do you find a lot of the meals that you plan, and I think we're going to ask more about meal planning here in a couple of minutes, but do you find that your meals kind of follow a common theme? Like I know for us, when we'll go on salad kicks, so our theme for a week will be salad, and one night it's all right, we're putting chicken with teriyaki sauce on salad, and then next night, or let's brown up some ground beef, and that goes on salad, and salad, and then we say okay, no more salad. The next week we're on maybe a hamburger or a hot dog fix for a week. Do you kind of see the same things, or do you kind of put some variety into it?
I try to keep things with a lot of variety. My 17-year-old would say we eat too much Tex-Mex, but I don't think there's such a thing as too much Tex-Mex. I try to humor him and throw some other cuisines in there. But I would say maybe one common theme in our meals is that we don't tend to do a lot of meat and potatoes kind of meals where your main dish is like a hunk of meat, like a pot roast or chicken breast with sauce or something. We tend to eat things like enchiladas, soups, salads, wraps, stir fries, sandwiches, things where you have meat, but it's mixed in with a lot of other things. Mostly because I think those kinds of foods are more interesting to eat than a chicken breast with sauce. But the upside of it is that also does tend to reduce your costs because you don't have to use as much meat when the meat isn't the star of the show. It's not the main thing on your plate there. So,
add to that, I do a ketogenic diet. So the majority of the food I eat is not fillers. So like I can't do potatoes, I can't do breads, I can't do pastas. And it makes for my wife it makes dinner very difficult because she'll make this. We'll do a big wok of like stir fried chicken, and that's all I'm eating is chicken. I have nothing else to go with it. No rice, no anything. And she says that we eat food too quickly or I eat too much of it. But that's all I can have is the protein.
You need more veggies.
And that's what we end up doing is we'll get tons of veggies, cut them up, throw them in with the stir fry, and it helps, but not as much as like a bag of rice would help.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I have a good friend of mine who's Indian, and he's vegetarian as well. And he has taught me some really cool ways to, cook different veggie dishes and, of course, curries as well. I mean, because that's one of the big things I wanted. I wanted more veggie. I wanted veggies in every dish, honestly. I want those nutrients. And it was really hard for me because it was really bland. I didn't know ways to kind of spice it up, and it was tough at first. But him doing that his whole life, it's amazing what they can come up with. So I've been really impressed by that. And I'm sure you've seen that yourself. So let's just talk about then. I remember my mom, she was an awesome cook, and I had to give her a shout out because she just mentioned on the live stream here. She said, she said we didn't waste much food with me in the house. I guess I was eating, but one of the things I remember her doing a lot, maybe at work on her lunch break was, going on the computer, looking up just new recipes all the time, planning out meals for the upcoming week. And she would already know what she was going to have, or what was going to be cooked before she would go to the grocery store, have that list ready. I mean, how do you go about planning the meals for your week? Do you do it weekly, or do you have a different kind of schedule?
I do. I know some people manage to put dinner on the table every night without a plan, but I am not one of those people. If I choose meals ahead of time, then I can pretty predictably turn them out. But if it gets to be 5 o'clock and I haven't decided on something, it's like my brain freezes. I'm like, I don't know how to cook anything except grilled cheese sandwiches. It's really bad. So I definitely have to plan my meals ahead of time. What I usually do is I look at my Hungry Harvest list. Hungry Harvest is a company here on the East Coast. They rescue produce that would otherwise be thrown away, like avocados that are too small. They'll get those from the grower and then deliver them to us. Or like if a grower has too many tomatoes, then Hungry Harvest gets them and they box them up and they send them to us. So what comes in my Hungry Harvest box every week is a little unpredictable, but Hungry Harvest sends me an email a couple of days before my box gets there and tells me what's coming. So I know, okay, I'm having potatoes or squash, and then so I try and plan my menus to use the things that come from Hungry Harvest so I don't waste what they are saving. And then I'm doing something for my blog this year called 52 New Recipes, because I'm trying to try new dinner meals. So every week I'm trying a new dinner recipe. So that takes care of one night a week. And then when I'm being organized, it doesn't happen every week, I try and take stock of what is in my refrigerator and freezer and pantry and take note of what needs to be used. And I try and pick some meals that will use up that stuff, so it's not going bad in my fridge or getting freezer burnt in my freezer. And on Fridays, I usually make pizza, so that takes care of one night a week. And then I just try and mix things up, not have, much as I love Tex-Mex, I try not to do Tex-Mex like 3 days in a row or chicken 3 days in a row so that we don't get bored. Because I think switching things up and keeping things interesting for your meals at home is key in helping you not get takeout or go out to eat at a restaurant.
So how do you even come up with 52 unique different recipes? Do you have resources that you steal from, or borrow from? Or are you going out and making things up? Or what's your process there?
I'm definitely not making things up. I am not that kind of cook. I am a recipe girl through and through. So usually I'm getting my recipes from the America's Test Kitchen family. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but They do Cook's Country, Cook's Illustrated, America's Test Kitchen. They put out recipes that are really thoroughly tested. I'm not paid to say this. I just love them. So the recipes are, they work. And they have detailed instructions about here's the right way to do this and here's what will not work, which is super helpful. So almost all of the recipes that I've tried so far this year in my 52 New Recipes project have been from the America's Test Kitchen family. So I have a bunch of their cookbooks. And if your listeners are wanting to try their cookbooks, a lot of them are available at the library. So you can go and try the Cook's Country or Cook's Illustrated or America's Test Kitchen cookbooks and kind of give them a test run and see, well, do I actually want to buy this and add it to my cookbook library or not? That's a great way to just give it a test run before you're forking money over for it.
So we're not going to see you on Chopped anytime soon? Open the basket and see what you got?
Nope. I'd be like, do you have a cookbook I can use? I consistently churn out meals that feed my family, but I rarely make them up by myself, which should be encouraging to my blog readers and to your listeners. You don't have to be somebody who could be on Chopped to feed your family. That's okay. You don't have to be creative. You just have to put something on the table every night, and it's totally fine to just follow a recipe.
Very true. Yeah. My wife jokes me because she's like, I have to follow it step by step and measurement by measurement. And she's like, Sean, come on, it's okay if you mess it up a little bit. And even when I follow it step by step, I seem to always mess it up. But hey, yeah, I keep on working at it. I'm trying. So that's a cool process. Now, but do you ever notice yourself like looking, couponing or looking at the ads every week? do you ever kind of look where the sales are, maybe for certain meats or certain produce, and kind of generate your shopping around that? I know I used to do that here in Virginia Beach, but now where I'm located, it's not necessarily the same in Austin. I can get everything I need from one store now, and I kind of dropped that part of me. I don't know how it is in your region, if you kind of generate your meal list based on what's on sale as well.
I used to do that more. I was more into the couponing, sale shopping scene, but then I discovered Aldi, and I never looked back. Aldi, in case your listeners don't know, is a really bare bones, basic grocery store that just sells things at everyday low prices. It's sort of like a plainer Trader Joe's. So discovering Aldi freed me from the tyranny of sales cycles and coupons, because I can just go to Aldi and buy whatever I want, whatever week I want, and it's going to be a good price. So I do a lot of my shopping there. And also at Costco, same idea. Everything's, basically the same price all the time. So I don't have to think, oh, can I afford chicken this week? Or should I wait until next week and hope that it's on sale? So I really recommend that to people who feel like coupon shopping is overwhelming or watching the sale ads is overwhelming. Find a store, BJ's, Sam's Club, Save a Lot, Aldi, some store that has just regular everyday low prices, because then you can save money on your groceries and you save a lot of time and stress at the same time too. Highly recommend that.
Just don't forget, with Aldi, you have to bring a quarter.
Yes.
So you can get your shopping cart.
Yes. Yep.
My wife went to school in Nashville, and that was the first time I ever went to an Aldi's. And we came home, and just within the past year, they've put up 5 Aldi's in this region.
Nice.
And everyone's super excited about them, and they're packed every single day. It's hard to get a parking space.
Yep.
We love going in there. It's just like generic branded food that is just as good as this name brand stuff you would get at a Walmart or a Farm Fresh or a Food Line or some high retail supermarket. We love it.
Yep. A lot of their products are actually made by the name brand companies and just repackaged for Aldi. So,
and you mentioned Costco and some of the big warehouse stores. Do you buy a lot in bulk, or is it very specific items that you go there for?
I bought more things at Costco before I discovered Aldi, because Aldi has some of the things that I used to buy at Costco, but I don't have to buy 7 pounds of something. I can buy just a stick of butter instead of a whole package of it. So there are still things that I buy at Costco, like things like frozen fruit, because I make a lot of smoothies. That's still cheaper at Costco than it is at Aldi. So I'm picky about it, because while almost everything is inexpensive at Aldi, at Costco, you really have to know your prices, because some things are more expensive than they would be at Aldi or at Target or something like that. So you can't just blindly buy things at warehouse stores. But if you've done your work and you know what the prices are other places, and you compare them, and then you can figure out, okay, these are the things that I'm going to buy at this warehouse club. And then you just know, okay, I'm going to stick with that.
Cool. And so getting into the recipes then, and kind of going backtracking to that, now that you've been doing, this cooking for so long now, are there certain certain spices or ingredients that you just can't live without?
Well, because I'm a huge Tex-Mex fan, I cannot live without cilantro.
Okay.
That's probably, fresh cilantro is my favorite thing. I also like fresh garlic, fresh ginger, and in the summertime, I like to cook with fresh basil. It's hard to get good basil in the wintertime because it wilts and turns black about 5 minutes after you buy it. But in the summertime, it is really easy to grow basil in a pot or in your front border, as long as you have a sunny spot. I am not a gardener, but I can grow basil. So if I can grow basil, anybody can grow basil. There is hope for everybody. And then if you have it on the plant, you can just pick it right before you use it, and you don't have to worry about it going bad. So I highly recommend that to any fellow black thumbs out there. Just get some basil. You can do this.
Yeah, and cilantro is a good one. I use that in a lot of recipes, especially the curries I talked about. Oh, wait, cilantro or coriander? What, I don't know the difference. I think it's just called the same thing. I don't know if it's the seeds that are coriander, or is it the seeds?
Coriander, and then the leaves are the cilantro.
Okay, all right. Well, learn something new.
Yeah.
Cool.
No idea. So what are some of your favorite, or do you have a favorite frugal dish?
Well, you would expect me to say something related to beans, wouldn't you?
Rice and beans, beans,
Because
rice. Yeah.
because that's what frugal people eat. But my husband hates beans. So even though I am a frugal person, we really do not need much in the way of beans. He has lots of other great qualities, so I keep him around even though he doesn't like beans. For main dishes, I like to make homemade pizza, which I did a detailed cost analysis in a post on my blog, and I discovered that even if you're using really good mozzarella and really good flour, that homemade pizza is still cheaper than cheap frozen pizza. Ooh,
Wow.
yeah. I like to make
That's cool.
Tex-Mex food, of course, because I love Tex-Mex. Soups, salads, I like to make those. If we're talking about not main dish stuff, I really like to make bread. I make my own yeast bread, buns, that kind of thing. You can get really, if you make homemade bread, you get really awesome bread for less than the price of crappy bread at the grocery store. So I love that. Chicken broth, love making chicken broth. It's this super nutritious stuff that you make from something you were just going to throw away. It makes my frugal heart really happy. Also really love to make homemade yogurt. You can make yogurt with just a gallon of milk and a cup of commercial yogurt. And you don't need any special equipment. And it is so cheap and so good. And granola. Granola is stupid expensive, you guys. It's just like oatmeal and honey and oil, and it's $8 for this little bag of it, and I never can understand why. So I like to make homemade granola. I have a recipe on my blog where you don't have to stir it while you cook it. You just mix up the oats and maple syrup and oil and press it into a rimmed baking sheet, and then you just bake it for 30 minutes. None of that pesky stirring and spilling, which I always did before. And then you have this nice clumpy, crispy granola, and it's so much cheaper than what you get at the grocery store. Super big fan of that.
Wow, that is some awesome stuff. You know, you're cooking. you must, and a lot of it. I mean, and so how much time do you spend prepping, versus cooking? And do you have like a set day or schedule for that, or just kind of every day you just plan on something ahead?
Yeah, it's pretty unpredictable. The only predictable thing that I do is that I plan my menus, and I pretty predictably make a gallon of yogurt every week, pretty much without fail, because I use that for smoothies every morning for breakfast. So I'm pretty consistent about the yogurt making.
That's a lot of yogurt. A gallon of yogurt.
Yeah, well,
I'm used to the Yoplait cups that are like this big.
Right. When you use as much yogurt as I do, you cannot afford to just do the little Yoplait cups. I use it in smoothies every morning for breakfast, and my kids eat it, and yeah, so we go through 4 quarts a week usually. But a gallon of milk only costs like $2.50 at Aldi, and I use a cup of yogurt from my previous batch, so I'm getting 4 quarts of yogurt for $2.50.
That's nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good job.
Now you want to make some, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. I will say I kind of chuckled though when you mentioned making your own bread, because the bread cooker is like that gift you give everybody for Christmas, and then 5 years later it's still in the box, Yeah. But
I love
look at that.
homemade bread though.
Yeah.
I don't use the bread machine.
Oh, okay.
I just make it myself.
Oh, so you don't need it.
No, well, I just knead it myself by hand. I mean, I start the dough in the KitchenAid, and then I finish it on the counter, and yeah, I am the bread machine.
When I was
Maybe that's why it stays in the box. I don't know.
When I was growing up, my mom had it was the most diesel bread machine I think I've ever seen in my life, and it could do like 2 loaves of bread at the same time. And she would just load it with say, oh, cinnamon raisin in this one, and regular white bread in this one. And she would also make like dinner rolls in her, so it wouldn't actually bake, but it would do all the fermenting and stuff of the dough, let the dough rise, and she would pull those out and bake those in the oven. And now I want some fresh baked bread.
I know, I can like smell it.
That's not going to work on your keto diet, though.
Oh no, not at all. I use some special flour that's not. Yeah, there are bread recipes for keto. They're just really bad bread.
Yeah, exactly.
Bread in quotation marks.
So we make oopsie bread in keto, and oopsie bread is cream cheese, egg whites, and salt, and I'd have to even go look the recipe up. And basically, you mix it up and you bake it for about 15 minutes in the oven, and it makes this. It's basically like cream cheese bread, but it's a thick enough consistency where you could make a sandwich out of it, and It's got 0 carbs in it. Fantastic.
Wow.
The bread I make has all of the carbs.
All the
way more than 0.
Stuff that tastes good. That's right. Well, cool. It's kind of a loaded question here, but just so someone that's kind of looking to set up their frugal kitchen and make the change, what are some of the key steps, tools, or ingredients just to kind of get started? I know there's a lot to it, right? I mean, you go down this path. You mentioned throwing away the waste to your refrigerator. There's certain recipes. There's a lot of prep that could happen in the kitchen. But what do you think, or to get started, what are the main things that kind of set you up for success?
Well, first off, I would say that you need to be realistic. If you are a starting cook, you need to give yourself some grace. And if you've been ordering takeout 7 times a week, you probably aren't going to be able to go from that to cooking 7 completely from scratch meals in your kitchen. You're just going to give up because it's going to be so overwhelming. So I think it's important to take baby steps and just, learn a dish a week and get good at that one, and then add some more, and don't beat yourself up if you end up getting takeout when you really were wanting to cook at home. You want to think about what is sustainable for the long term, and don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. For setting up a kitchen, I think good recipes are really important, because if you have bad recipes, then you are going to be spending time and energy in the kitchen and having something disgusting to eat to show for it. So it's really important to get recipes that are consistent and tested and reliable. So I'm going to give another plug for Cook's Country and America's Test Kitchen and all of that, because those recipes, I rarely get a dud from those, and I've tried hundreds of their recipes. So I definitely recommend that. They have a number of easy cookbooks, quick cookbooks, so that you're not going to be overwhelmed by how difficult or complicated these recipes are. And then as far as equipment goes, I am a big fan of paying a little bit more for something that will not be frustrating to use and that will not break on the 5th time that you use it. So I'm not looking for the cheapest thing. I'm looking for the thing that will be the most frugal over the long haul. Like, I would rather buy 1 really good pan than 5 pans that I'll have to replace every couple of years. So to find out which things last a long time, I like to use the what do they call it? Equipment reviews that Cooks Illustrated does. They have them all on their website. You do have to pay for a membership for the website, but it's like $30 a year. And once you are a member of their website, you can access all of the equipment reviews that they have ever done. And they do a good job of saying, okay, well, this pan is super expensive, but it wasn't really better than this other pan that's only $60. So they help you figure out where it makes sense to spend your money and where it makes sense just to save your money. Like, they said that a $9 9x13 pan was better than this $250 9x13 pan. So they've been super helpful for me in building a kitchen filled with things that will last without unnecessarily spending money. Because sometimes you can spend money on an expensive piece of kitchen equipment and it's no good. So I really love their equipment reviews. Super helpful.
No, that's good to know, definitely. And we'll definitely put some of those links in our show notes as well, so this way everybody can get out to those. Well, cool. That's awesome. Now, we're going to go ahead. At the end of every show, we kind of wrap things up with our daily frugal tip of the day. And since we're on the cooking topic here, I know it's a little corny, but I wanted to tell everybody... I wanted to tell everybody to ditch their traditional plastic and metal spatulas for those silicone ones. I don't know what you think about this, but it seems like nothing sticks to them, and they're a lot easier to work with on like pans, like frying pans. The first time I used one, I remember it was scrambled eggs. Like every time I did scrambled eggs in the morning with my normal spatulas, I always get the like egg film stuck to the spatula, and I put it in the dishwasher, and it'd come out, and it wasn't off, and I had to like scrape it off with a knife or something, and it was really annoying. And then I finally started using one of those silicone spatulas, and now I use it for everything. So I haven't had to replace mine yet. They seem like they last forever, and I remember the other plastic ones would either get burnt or start melting on you. I don't know your thoughts on those.
Yeah, I like those too for scraping out bowls of batter or getting the last peanut butter out of a container. I don't know how people live without spatulas. I have a whole bunch of them. I use them all the time.
Nice.
I never thought about using it in the peanut butter container. That's
Well,
brilliant.
there's your frugal tip for the day.
I'm the one with the butter knife trying to scrape outside. Never thought about the spatula.
Yeah, you can make little skinny ones that are like maybe not even an inch across, and they're super great for getting the last bits out of containers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, those are
Everyone
awesome. And
needs one.
they do, and they're cheap.
Yes.
Cool. Well, that's our today's tip, I guess. Hopefully, it puts some money back in someone's pocket, and you can find links to those and what we're talking about again in the show notes and more recommendations at twofrugaldudes.com.
Well, Kristin, thank you so much for joining us today. If someone has a question for you after listening to this episode, where should they go and how should they get in contact with you?
All right. Well, you can always find me at my blog, which is www.thefrugalgirl.com. There is a contact tab on my website where you can email me, and you can also subscribe to get my posts there. I am also on social media. The place you can find me most often is on Instagram. I am the Frugal Girl there. I'm also on Facebook, and I'm the Frugal Girl there. And I'm on Twitter, where I am also the Frugal Girl. So if you can remember the Frugal Girl, you can find me. Super easy to remember.
That's awesome. And you have some good lists on your site, or excuse me, on your blog as well, like recipe list, main dishes. I've seen some of those.
Yep, in the sidebar.
Did you have any equipment list as well? I couldn't recall.
I do have a post where I listed my minimalist cookware set where I have, I think, 6 pieces that I use. I'll send you the link for that, and you can put that in the show notes so people can see what stuff I use.
Nice. That would rock. Cool. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show today. It was great having you.
Oh, it was great to be here. Thanks so much for having me. It was fun to chat with you guys.
Thank you. Alrighty.
Bye-bye. I guess YouTube, right? We can say bye-bye live stream, everybody.
Bye,
cutting live stream.
Our biggest audience ever.